Good evening, folks, and a hearty welcome to our drive-in theater. We have a wonderful evening's entertainment lined up for you, one that will provide several hours of pleasurable relaxation and diversion for you and your family. Did you fail to dress up for tonight's show? No tie, an old shirt and slacks, a house dress? Well, don't give it a thought. We're glad you came as you are. We just want you to enjoy yourselves. Don't forget to visit our refreshment center during the intermission or any time. You love the tasty array of snacks we have to offer. So will the youngsters. Everything is quality and so good. We hope you'll make this a weekly visit. Bring the family. Bring your friends. There are always wonderful new pictures to see, delightful snacks to nibble, a gay, pleasant evening for all. Oh, a word of caution. Don't drive over 10 miles an hour in the theater area for your safety's sake. And Mom or Pop, go with the kids when they leave the car. We hope you have a wonderful time. Come back soon. Wouldn't some hot buttered popcorn hit the spot right now? Extra fluffy, extra big kernels of it pop to perfection. Then drenched with the golden goodness of pure sweet creamery butter. Can't you just taste it? We heat the container extra high, but you better buy 2 more for the rest of the family. Piping hot, golden buttered popcorn at the refreshment center right now.
With the swiftness of a deadly cosmic ray, the Earth is invaded by indestructible moon monsters. Their ghastly mission, death for all humans. What astounding technical developments are being made to protect mankind? Robot Monster brings you an actual preview of the devastating forces of our future. Unsuspected revelations of incredible horrors that will terrify you with their brutal reality.
There is no escape from me. Very well. I will recalculate. Your death will be indescribable. Fool humans, there is no escape.
Hey, kids, how would you like to hear this on the screen instead of the great show you came to see? That's what you sound like. Honest. Please cooperate and do your part in keeping this theater quiet so everyone, including you, can enjoy it. Now remember, lots of adults and kids, too, paid admission to enjoy the show. We must insist on absolute quiet. Otherwise, we will be forced to evict all disturbance makers from the theater. Those asked to leave today will be refused admission to this theater in the future. Thank you.
And, oh, of course. Sorry, hold on a second. Why are you not? Oh, sorry. My camera is being a pain in the butt. Okay, hold on. We'll get it yet. Oh my god. This is a surprisingly common occurrence. There we go. Hooray! You can see me now. Hi, everybody. You've heard me, now you can see me. It sucks to be you that you can see me now. Oh no, did I? God dang it. Let's try that again. Oh my gosh. Utter disaster. Utter disaster zone. Okay. Get rid of that one. There we go. Hi, everybody. Jeez. Technical difficulties. Hi. Welcome, welcome. Rex, Expose. The bride, of course, is upstairs. But tuning in. Let's see. Rex talking about in the back of an Uber. I'm glad you made it. Easter is busy. This is always something that we had when the bride and I were still gainfully employed in the museum field. We would come back from a long weekend. Everyone's like, "How was your long weekend? We did all this, that, and the other thing." And it's like we went to church like 3-4 times, so it wasn't really a long weekend. With spiritually edifying, of course, but not necessarily relaxing. Spent Easter in New England. Nice. Have you guys had fetuses for St. Patty's Day? Even I. You're a goth. It's a lot of darkness. Ooh, yeah, I am. It's pretty dark. Pretty dark. Right now. Hi, Rex. Hi, Movie Attic. Welcome. So, yeah. And Martin, hello. Hello, welcome, everyone. Rolling in here. I just actually, part of the reason why there was technical difficulties at the beginning is that I kind of just blew in the door getting back from our annual comic expo here in Calgary. Checking out the dealer's room and finding a few good treasures as well. I managed not to spend too much. I went in and found pretty much like exactly what it was I was looking for and like nothing more. And I was surprised I even found what I was looking for. So that was good. Although the one more than I was looking for that I found was a DVD copy of Forrest Ackerman's 1990 Famous Monsters movie documentary video thing. So I'm excited to check that out. There's the bad photocopy of the VHS tape. Also found, in addition to my King Kong poster collection, my mini posters is the French poster here, which I love. Not a big fan of having the black thing there, but like kind of cuts off the image a bit. But otherwise, I mean, that's a great image. Kong and fire. There's Fay Ray right there. Pretty slick. There, got some patches. There's my new Godzilla patch right there, and Creech patch right there. It's good I don't have to pay like the shipping and the tariffs and everything for those, for my offensive jacket. And everyone stopped talking. Oh no. Is it me? Did I do something? And then my favorite thing that I found, which is one that otherwise I would have had to go to eBay for. When I showed it to the bride, she was a bit uncertain about it. But it's okay, honey. It will go in a spot where you can't normally see it. But it is the full size, well, almost full size, Kong poster, like my favorite King Kong poster of the one of Kong on top of the Empire State Building there. Love this poster. Love the sort of cartoony look that he's got there. It's a great dynamic piece of art. Get the vertigo there. So, yeah, that's going to go in the new Kong section when we move into our new place in, God willing, a month. Or less, but who knows. The basement is going to be the tiki room. And the basement is kind of like L-shaped. And so you come in and immediately in the main, in like the L part of the L, lower part of the L, you come down the stairs and you look and there's a fireplace which we're currently trying to renovate because it was built in the 90s. and that's where like the couch, the entertainment center, everything's going to be. And then there's like an L, and around that corner is going to be where the Kongs are going to be. And my Kong posters are going to be around the Kong collection there. So, and I'm hoping to expand this. And I have an idea of the aesthetic that I'm going to go for, that I can actually afford, because finding some like gorgeous, gigantic, like bamboo tiki kind of shelf is just not a thing that's going to happen really. There's one that keeps popping up on Facebook Marketplace in my area, but every time I get like it gets snatched out from underneath me. But I have an idea what I'm going to do. I'm not going to say too much because I'm going to do a video about it when I get around to actually doing it. But I'm going to have like two shelves, two shelving units for my Kongs, so there's room to expand, and also room for it to breathe, so it's not all crammed in there. And then space around it for Kong posters, stuff like that. So I'm glad that I found this one, because I was preparing myself to have to like go to eBay to get like a full size poster of that particular poster, as opposed to the little like 11 by 17 posters that I have. In fact, you don't see those usually, but right there, you can see got Kong there, Kong there. So those are going to be sort of around there, and now I don't have to order those extra ones. There's a few other ones I still want to order, including like some Son of Kong ones and maybe the Most Dangerous Game, whatever. But I'm very happy that I found like the one that I wanted as a big poster at the Comic Expo. So yay, that worked out nicely. And a few patches for my jacket, and yeah, that one video. And that was all I managed to buy, which was good actually. Trying to keep down the expenses. So, let's see. I suppose they threw some tea in the Boston Harbor at the Tea Party Museum. That was fun. Thing is, my favorite drink is tea, so I was happy it's that. Well, Boston Harbor is just like some tea right now. It's just like a big kettle of tea. That's funny that they do like a tossing tea in the harbor activity there. If you want me to, if anything gets too political, I can start asking about cartoons and sitcoms, like a mod on Twitch. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Hopefully we don't get too political. My jacket is the most political thing, apparently. So, still, there's actually a patch I'm waiting for as well that I ordered. It's a Twilight Zone. It's like a TV that has the Twilight Zone logo on it. That's going to go right there, as long as it fits. Still looking for a back patch, so that's one thing I didn't find. I was hoping at the Comic Expo that I might find a booth that had, actually like Rock Rebel. The company Rock Rebel makes some really nice like back patches of like classic monsters, like so Frankenstein or Frankenstein and the Bride, that sort of thing. I was hoping somebody might have those, but no such luck, unfortunately. So I still need to find a good back patch for this, but that might just be like a trip up to Edmonton someday, because there's a store in the big mall there that I did a video about like 2 years ago. That sells Rock Rebel stuff, so I might be able to find it there. Who knows? Might be cheaper than getting it shipped. It's actually just driving up to Edmonton. What type of tea? My favorite is Earl Grey. My favorite is it's like black tea. That's what kind I always have. I only really ever drink tea when we go to like fancy hotels that have like tea time, which in Canada is maybe more of a thing than the United States. Like every hotel in every national park in Canada has like high tea, and I always get the black tea with, well, it's milk with some tea in it, but I'm going to try not to buy too much at this year's G Fest. Oh, that would be painful to not. I was almost not considering going, but what would you decide we are going? By the way, sweet merchandise purchase, thank you. You know, I've never been to G Fest because I don't like really travel for conventions. I'm not even sure like the conditions under which I would. Just because it's not a slight against anyone who does. It's just like I travel to like go sightsee, basically. I want to go to national parks. I want to go to great cities, all that sort of stuff, and sightsee and see some stuff. And spending thousands of dollars to go to a hotel to hang out with a bunch of people for a weekend isn't really my cup of tea. Speaking of tea, which is not a slight against anybody who does like to do that. It's just how I travel with the funds that I have, what I choose to do with them. Because I have to choose, you know. But you know, if you have the opportunity to go to G Fest, might as well, I guess, if it's like close or if it's like your tradition thing, whatever, something you enjoy, something you get a lot out of, go for it, do it. Um, I guess the closest maybe it comes is that I do want to go to Japan and coincide that trip with their Godzilla Fest on November 3rd, and take in all of the Godzilla Fest activities and so on, and see the Godzilla puppets in real life. That would be like the highlight. Seeing the Godzilla puppets in real life, I would go goo for that, like celebrities. But that's like a 1 day thing in Japan. That said, if there was like a you know the great Kongvention somewhere, then who knows? Maybe I would go to that. Um, Earl Grey's my favorite. It's like Dark Healing, so as much. That should be your website, monsterkittycory.com. Yeah. Can you get Kong as a suffix for a website? Okay. Oh, Rex is gone. Oh no. Yeah, I mean, I guess maybe the only conventions I would really travel for might be like a tiki convention, because tiki is itself was so based on location. For the longest time, there was the biggest tiki convention was Tiki Oasis, which took place at the Caliente Tropics. Yeah, Caliente Tropics. Yeah, yes, or Tiki Caliente, whatever. Anyways, there was a tiki convention that met at the Caliente Tropics Hotel in Palm Springs, which has a tiki bar as well. It's a tiki themed resort, and it's like, okay, you're going to Palm Springs. Um, the hotel itself is cool, and you know you can book time then to go check out things around Palm Springs. It's like that kind of thing sounds okay. There was a an Arizona sort of franchise of it, Arizona Tiki Oasis, that took place in the Hotel Valley Ho in Scottsdale, which is an amazing hotel. We stayed there in our last trip to Arizona. Fantastic, like mid-century modern style retro hotel. The only thing that was missing was a tiki bar, which it used to have apparently, but they got rid of it. But the thing that has kept me from doing tiki conventions is the price. I'm used to a convention where it's like you pay your pass, and you know if you want extra bells and whistles, you get like the VIP pass. Whereas tiki conventions, you pay per event, so like you pay like $15 or whatever per panel to go to, as well as per party and everything else. So it's just like, oh my god, like you could spend like a couple $1,000 just to attend. And there's like the merch as well, because tiki is not cheap either. So it is like the most expensive hobby I've ever been involved in. The entry point for tiki is very pricey. Of course, they would have tea time in Canada. They stayed loyal to the British Empire after all. Yes, yeah, we did. Actually, one of my favorites, just for kind of the humor of it, is in Waterton Lakes National Park here in Alberta, which is my favorite place in the world. It's Waterton Glacier International Peace Park. Waterton Lakes National Park in Canada and Glacier National Park in Montana. And they're right on the border beside each other. And, you know, the hotels in other national parks were built by like mainly Canadian Pacific Railway and also Canadian National Railways. So they're like Canadian companies. So, you know, them having high tea and everything makes sense. But then the hotels in Waterton Glacier were built by Great Northern Railway, an American railway company. And the hotels in Glacier are like American rustic hotels, lodges. Glacier Park Lodge, Mini Glacier Hotel, and Lake McDonald Lodge. But in Canada, they made the Prince of Wales Hotel, which was named after the Prince of Wales, in a bid to get, in 1927 it was built, in a bid to get the future King Edward, future and former King Edward, to stay there, but on one of his visits to Canada. But he didn't have to stay there because he has his own ranch in southern Alberta. He owned a ranch. So he never actually stayed at the Prince of Wales Hotel. But they really play up the whole like Scottish and royal thing. So like the wait staff and the bellhops and everything, they're wearing like kilts and tartan, and they have high tea in the lobby of this place. It's always find kind of funny because it's like it's not like that sort of authentically Canadian thing, like the Canadian Pacific Railway hotels. It's like this Americans trying to suck up to Canada sort of thing. Which I don't know. I just find it kind of amusing as a nerd for national parks as well, which is not something I talk about too much on this channel. But I do have a video coming up where I will talk about it a little bit. But anyways, a nice thing about these streams is that you can actually respond to the chat and not just ignore the chat like other streams. Yeah, well, I know, like, I mean, streams that have, hundreds or thousands of viewers at the same time would be almost impossible to keep up with. Um, and I understand, them wanting to sort of, with the profit motive, wanting to encourage engagement and encourage money for people to pay to have their comment noticed. Um, but we'll see what happens when I become a rich and famous YouTube influencer. But no, I mean, I think my super chats are enabled. Not that I've ever gotten one, which isn't a criticism, guys, so don't worry. But yeah, no, the fun. See, I'm like big on the social aspect of social media. I like the engagement. That's why I'm even in the comment section of my own videos, like fighting with people, because I like the engagement of social media. I like the social aspect of it. So I like chatting with you guys. Otherwise, it would just be me babbling about nothing. So it wouldn't even be a point to doing a live stream. So no, I like this, and you guys get me going on all sorts of different topics that I might not even otherwise talk about. So I do appreciate that, and I enjoy this. I enjoy having regulars who keep showing up to these. So yeah, and I never want to get like sort of audience captured in the sense of like um I'm only gonna listen to people who pay me. I'm not an OnlyFans girl. um I don't only want to listen to people who pay me and only do the content that gets the views. I'm doing a little bit of that right now because the theme park stuff is kind of a big topic right now. But it's like these are videos I've been meaning to make anyways. Like I've been meaning to make a video about the Haunted Mansion. I wanted to make a video about Dance Macabre and Efteling. So I just have done it lately because the aftermath of my my Dark Universe review, where like, oh my god, did that bring up the Universal Parks fanboys for that one? How dare you? How dare you not like Dark Universe? Don't you know this was made for you? Like, no. If it was made for me, it would have been better. But they used to have the absolute best peppermint tea at the Banff Springs Hotel. Then they changed the mix and now it's butter. Yeah, unfortunately, all of our great Grand Railway hotels have become. They're owned by companies now that don't care about our history and apparently architecture and thematic coherence. So they're modernizing all of these hotels that look like old castles and trying to make them modern. It's just like, oh, stop. Nobody goes to a castle in the Rocky Mountains because they want to see IKEA furniture. For crying out loud. But at least the advantage is that um, we can prey on these auctions and stuff and buy furniture that used to be in these hotels. So if they're going to get rid of all the beautiful old medieval looking furniture in the old castle hotels, then I'll happily take it and we'll turn our house into castle old railway hotel from the mountains. The first thing I hear coming on this stream is Cory mentioning OnlyFans girls. Yeah, saying that I'm not one. I mean, I guess I could start an OnlyFans. I don't know who would want to watch it. Like, there was, or do what Bernadette Banner did. She's a historical costumer, and she did like an ankle pics, but show off some ankle. But show my monster toys in each video, my OnlyFans. So you didn't say OnlyFans of what? So even mentioning OnlyFans, is that going to get like my stream banned or something? Sexy ankles, yes. What are your top 3 most underrated theme parks? Underrated theme parks. Ooh. That's tough because it's not like I've been to every theme park in the world. Um. Okay. It's hard to say underrated. These are like regional things. Um. When I was growing up, there used to be this theme park, actually 2 of them, in British Columbia. Called Bedrock City. They were Flintstones based. And yeah, I mean, you might be familiar with like the one that was in Arizona, that's now closed as well. The one in Arizona was like ghetto compared to the ones in British Columbia. The ones in British Columbia were fantastic, and they were small scale regional parks, but they were theme parks. They weren't amusement parks, and that was the part that now in retrospect. So I grew up with these in the '80s. In fact, I was like a full-on fan of the Flintstones as a child in the '80s. A lot of it because of these parks. My parents always take me to them. One of them was in Kelowna on Lake Okanagan, and the other was in Chilliwack, which is near Vancouver. And the only rides in these parks were like these pedal cars. So I think the Flintstones cars, like the pedal cars, like this boat, like canoe boat ride, and a train that was just like a car pulling wagons, dressed up like a train. And there was the Roxy Theater. So it was just like this movie theater, Flintstone style movie theater, showing episodes of the Flintstones. But like the rest of it was just like this walkthrough. So you walk through and there were like, little playground areas and stuff like that and things to touch and interact with. But they're all like these like Flintstones houses. He's like, go see the Flintstone Fire Hall, go see the Flintstone City Hall, go see the Flintstone Supermarket, go see Fred's house and Barney's house, and so on. And you know, like it was amazing in terms of its theming. Because it's not an amusement park. It didn't have a roller coaster or anything like that. Mini golf, that was the other attraction they had. Mini golf. So just a few little activities. But it was like perfection for the architecture, for capturing the environment of Bedrock City and the Flintstones and stuff. Like all of the houses were just perfect. You had the people in the costumes walking around. You had statues of them as well you could take photos with. And it was like you were stepping into the Flintstones, which is what a theme park is. Right? Maybe I should do a video about this too, because an amusement, and people get these so confused all the time. I talk about this in my videos recently, that they mix up theme park and amusement park, and they think, oh, theme parks are just a dressed up amusement park, and amusement parks are all about how fast the rides are. Like, no, a theme park is about escaping into another world. It's a fantasy setting. It's virtual reality in 3 dimensions, in plaster and lathe and everything. So, like, yeah, Bedrock City in British Columbia in the '80s would be lame by the standards of amusement park fans who want fast, speedy roller coasters. But by the standards of you're entering into a themed world, it was freaking amazing. At least as I remember it as a child. There is like one video of the Bedrock City in Kelowna on YouTube. And I mean, watch it. It looks amazing. Yeah, there was another, Ogopogo. There is another theme park, amusement park, more amusement park. Had themed parts, but amusement park called Adventureland, also around Lake Okanagan, that had Ogopogo as its mascot. And it closed even when I was a kid. Like all of these parks have closed by now. It closed when I was a kid, even. Like, 1 year we went, and then, like, 2 years later we went back, and it was not there. Like, we couldn't even find where it was. Like, everything was taken down. Um, but for all of the parks that were through British Columbia, there was Bedrock City. There's two Bedrock cities. There was Old MacDonald's Farm, which is mostly like a petting zoo. There's Adventureland. There was another place called Beardale Castle, which was all miniatures. Um, one that still remains is called the Enchanted Forest, and I'm so glad that it is still there. Not just as this nostalgic connection to my childhood, but because a park like that would not be built today. So what it is, you roll up to this thing right along the Trans Canada Highway, just outside of Revelstoke, British Columbia. There's this giant castle in the inland cedar forest, and you roll up to it. You pay your admission. You go in, and you walk through the forest, and there's all of these little like vignettes from fairy tales, and they're all like sculpted out of cement and stuff like that. It's sort of like garden gnomes doing different fairy tale scenes. So you got the Cat and the Fiddle and Goldilocks and Wizard of Oz and all these fairy tales all around. You will walk through this forest looking at all these vignettes of fairy tales, and some of the buildings you can enter and all that sort of stuff. And the castle has like its prison torture chamber in the basement and all sort of fun stuff. And it's very like low res, low brow, um, very quirky, very handmade, um, very sort of like outsider art. Which as an adult I appreciate more. As a kid, it was just like a fun place to go and all cute fairy tales in the forest and everything else. Um, as an adult now, I appreciate it as like this fixture installation of like outsider art. um, but I'm so glad it's still there and has not closed down, because something that quirky and unique and strange just would not be built today. No one would invest the money to make like and to go to this like just quirky little roadside stop of just these little bad cement sculptures of fairy tale characters, stuff like that. So it's like the last holdover from like this 1980s golden age of um, amusement and theme parks through the interior British Columbia in Canada. Um, so I would say Enchanted Forest is not even underrated. It's just like who knows about it except people in Western Canada whose parents went there. Um, there's I did the video I did 2 years ago on Galaxyland in West Edmonton Mall and how Galaxyland is being redecorated as sort of Hasbro themed. Except it's not like a theme park where you're entering the world of Hungry Hippos. It's like the toy box. We talk about this in the video. It's the toy box where your Hungry Hippos and your Monopoly and your GI Joe toys are all dumped in, and that's what the theme park is. It's like Toy Story, but Hasbro properties. It's not finished yet, though. I realized like the video I made about it was 2 years ago, and it's still not finished. There's still a few rides that haven't been made over to Hasbro yet, and I'm sure the current political and economic situation is not encouraging that a whole lot. But I'm still waiting for them to change that one ride, that one dark ride they have, into Transformers. Um, so that's like weirdly fun as well. Just 'cause it's like in a mall and there's like a huge water park in there as well and stuff like that. Other underrated theme parks. So there's the one that was so underrated that they closed in the 90s, which is Bedrock City. Enchanted Forest, which is just a weird local quirky one. The Europa Park and Efteling, because they're not really on the radar of people. Um, like of North Americans. The theme park discourse is dominated by North America, right? It's the two Disney parks and the two main Universal parks: Disneyland, Disney World, Universal Hollywood, Universal Florida. The theme park discussion is so dominated by that sort of Tokyo Disney is just sort of like out there people know about it is like the sort of like mythical Shangri-La. Tokyo Disney Sea is still the best theme park in the world. I've watched videos of Epic Universe. No, still Tokyo Disney Sea. Epic Universe is just catching up to what Disney did 20 years ago. Um, it's out there, right? And there's Universal Osaka as well, is sort of out there. And then there's like the 2 Chinese Disney parks as well. But like no one talks about the European ones. So there's like Efteling, there's Europa Park, there's the park based on the Little Prince, which we almost went to when we were in France. Um, I'd be still be interested. There's like an Asterix park as well. Asterix. It would be interesting, except the only problem with like going on a theme park tour of Europe is that you're in Europe. Go see like real castles. So, I mean, Efteling's in Rotterdam. Rotterdam, is that like a British saying of it? So it's sort of like, I don't know of anything else around the Netherlands that I really want to see. So it's like, okay, if I had money growing out of my ears, we could just hop on a plane and go to Efteling and back. Spend like a weekend at Efteling. But it's sort of like, if I'm going to go to like Germany, then Europa Park might be like one day of a trip to Germany. Like Disneyland Paris, even. Like, I've been to Disneyland Paris technically 2.5 days. Once for 2 hours on my first trip to France, which was just an overnight layover. So I only had like 2 hours. Like, okay, in and out. Got to see the things I want to see and then out because I want to get to Notre Dame and stuff like that. But then on our big trip to France, where the bride and I got engaged, we had a day allotted for Disneyland Paris, and then another day we sort of finished our plans early. We're like, what do you want to do? And we said, let's go to Disneyland Paris. Why not? So, which is so weird to just like, let's hop on a train and go to Disneyland. Like, whatever. So, very weird feeling. But even then, yeah, it's like, going on a theme park tour of Europe when you're in Europe and there's other things to see. Just feels a bit weird. But what do I know? I don't know. I guess those would be my votes for most underrated. I haven't been to the Ghibli park yet. That's on my list of things to do, like when we go to Japan again next, whatever. Bride's never been, but when I was there last, there was no Ghibli park. It's on my list of things I want to do, but it's also sort of like almost the first on the list of things that if it needs to be cut for time, then we would cut that. Because I'm not as big a Ghibli fan as I used to be. Still love Ghibli stuff, but now I'm more like, it's not like this passion, like, I love Ghibli. Now it's like, yeah, I like My Neighbor Totoro, and I like Pompoko, and I like Whisper of the Heart, and I like Castle in the Sky. Like, I like specific Ghibli movies now. It's not so much like everything Ghibli is like the most amazing thing. So it's sort of like, yeah, I want to go do it, but like if it had to be cut, like, well, okay. I would rather go like to the Godzilla parks in Japan. So like the Seibuen, which is the theme park just outside of Tokyo, that's based on Showa era. So it's got like a Showa era Main Street, and it's got like kiddie rides based on Osamu Tezuka's work, and then it's got the big themed ride is Godzilla and Ultraman, not together. They're two separate rides. They're two separate shows in the same show building, and sort of like the morning they play the Ultraman one, and the afternoon they play the Godzilla one. So I want to see that, and then the zipline one in Awaji Island, which is near Osaka. I would like to go to those. Those are like the big ones I want to go to. if I have to pick, go to those, and then Tokyo Disney, and then Ghibli Park. But, let's see. Let's catch up on here. I don't know if I really answered the question. It's hard to answer because it's like I have to base it on what I've been to or what I want to go to, right? Sexy ankles, please no. Okay. I also got an Esperanto textbook, so I'm learning language Esperanto. Cool. You should just repost your regular videos, but with copyright footage for OnlyFans. Yeah. Yeah, I guess I could do that, couldn't I? I think I mentioned in my last live stream that, the reason why my movie review videos are just like slideshows is because the first one I tried to do on King Kong, it kept getting flagged to where it was like not viewable to people in United States and Canada. It's like, what? You can still have it up here, but it's not viewable to anybody. Like, okay. So that's why my movie reviews are slideshows. If you learned how to pronounce Esperanto words, I could be able to help dub your videos in Esperanto. Cool. Ogopogo, yeah. Ooh, Enchanted Forest. Personally, I think Moomin World, Gatorland, and Freedomland USA are all underrated. I've heard of Moomin World, but I haven't seen like video of it or anything. Gatorland, I've watched videos of and stuff. It's okay. I mean, sure. Freedomland, I don't think I've heard of. Maybe I have. Is that the one with like the double-decker roller or double-decker carousel in it? I'm trying to remember. You know what? Speaking of theme parks, okay, you know what I am looking forward to if they actually build it, which they're not going to, is that they were gonna build like this like non-woke theme park all on Route 66 near Vintna or Vinta, whatever, Oklahoma. And it was gonna be like America the theme park, and have all the different areas based on like different parts of American history and stuff like that. So like sort of the roller coaster and thrill rides would be in sort of like the Thomas Edison themed part of the park, and there was like a New Orleans Southern U.S. Bayou kind of thing, like the pirate ride, and the main street was going to be like 1950s America, like that. Um, on paper, it looks fantastic. It looks so cool on paper. Um, and I think like, Route 66 gets like a couple million visitors a year driving it. So if those people all went to this park, it would probably do okay, at least as a seasonal park. But they promised it would be done in 2 years, about 4 or 5 years ago. So yeah, I would be surprised if it actually happens. Their ambition might have outstripped their ability. What are your thoughts on the works of Robert E. Howard and H.P. Lovecraft? Howard, I haven't read very much of, just some of his weird Western stuff, like The Horror of the Mound, I think is his. H.P. Lovecraft, of course, is awesome. I should do a video on Lovecraft someday. My thoughts on Lovecraft. I think Lovecraft is very effective for what he does, but I don't agree with it. That makes sense. So his horror is derived from sort of two main places. I've talked before in my videos about how, sort of for the purposes of discussion, we can distill horror down into two kinds. One kind is the horror that God exists, and the other kind is the horror that God does not exist. So the horror that God exists is the horror that, there is a God and a devil, and there's capital G good and capital E evil, and that the human soul is the battleground in the eternal war between heaven and hell. And that the choices you make as a person can spell victory for one side or the other, and sort of the there are fates worse than death. The worst that can happen to you is damnation. You get damned to hell. And like the classic universal monsters are the horror that God exists, right? That you're trespassing in the realms of God. There's capital G good and capital E evil, and the human soul is the battleground between them. And to die virtuously is better than to live as an undead fiend of the pit. That's universal monster. The horror that God does not exist is the horror of a universe that is completely devoid of meaning, that there is no meaning to anything, and that is just chaos and the struggle for a pointless survival. And that's like Night of the Living Dead is like the movie of that, right? It's just cosmic chaos, and humans are just on the food chain somewhere. Lovecraft is the horror that God does not exist, right? That the universe is, I mean, literally at the center of the universe is Azazoth, the the blind, dumb chaos god. Um, it's this universe of just indifferent, hungering entities, and humans are just like a speck of nothing on cosmic vastness. Um, that's Lovecraft, is the horror that God does not exist. As filtered through, then, Lovecraft's own revulsion at existence. Like, I gather he was a nice guy to people that he knew, and like his letters and everything, he quite gentlemanly, but his underlying ideology is just absolute revulsion at humankind, revulsion especially at non-white people, revulsion over sex, revulsion over interracial sex especially. um like, just he was so revolted by humankind. Could be a nice guy to individual people, but not to humankind. So sort of you have this nihilistic view of life as filtered through his revulsion at humankind and existence and religion and so on. Like, you know, um, Cthulhu's sort of creed there. That is not dead which can eternal lie, and with strange eons even death may die. That's the Apostles' Creed. that is a satire of the Apostles' Creed in Christianity. Um, it's just, yeah, his revulsion at everything through which he filters this sort of nihilistic view. Um, and here's the thing: is like, it is very effective. Like, I like Lovecraft's work. I even have. Let me grab it here. Good thing I'm wearing pants. Like, I have a statue of Cthulhu. This is actually a replica of the prop from the Call of Cthulhu movie that came out a few years ago that the H.P. Lovecraft Historical Society made. Um, the silent film version of Call of Cthulhu. This is a replica prop. In fact, this is number, what is this, number 41 of 50 or whatever it is there. Um, so I like it. I like Lovecraft's work, but I like it from the position of, like, this is an effective exploration of, like, the antithesis of what I believe. I believe in a universe full of meaning because I am a Christian. So to me, Lovecraft is like this interesting and effective exploration of the alternative point of view. Um, and his ability to convey it is amazing. His use of language is astonishing. Like, he's one of the most effective writers that I have read at how he uses language and how he uses it in this way to convey the wrongness of what he's writing about. Just which, sort of adjectives he chooses to use, the descriptive terms, which sometimes, like, strictly speaking, don't make sense. This thing was blurbling and slopping along, right? It's like, how do you do that exactly? But it perfectly conveys what it's meant to, right? So Lovecraft is extraordinarily good at what he does. It's just that, yeah, for me, it's not because I agree with him. It's because he's the opposite position to the one that I hold. But I mean, God, I like him enough to have this. I have his collected works as well, like upstairs. I've got, like, at least his collected short stories, if not also his novels in that volume as well. Um, so, like, I've got his work. I like his work. Um, it's just, yeah, it's sort of with a, there's that sort of barrier there, that, like, it's not because I agree with him, it's because he's the opposite position to my own, which is not unlike, well, I like Mark Twain as well. I don't agree with Mark Twain philosophically on a lot of things, but his descriptive prowess in his own way is fantastic. Like, he's such a keen observer of human failing, and there's nothing to me quite as funny as one of Mark Twain's perfectly chosen wrong words. Um, so his command of language is amazing. That's why he's so funny. And he's like, the American author. Everybody else is just a commentary on Mark Twain. Um, so I like him, but I don't agree with him philosophically. I think actually Twain is quite philosophically shallow. Um, so sort of the rejoinder to me, the sort of opposite pole of Mark Twain is G.K. Chesterton, who is funny and Christian. So, um, and it's like night and day, just insofar as like they both poke at human frailty and failing, but Chesterton does it with this sense of sort of bemusement because he has that Christian perspective that allows him to kind of step outside and kind of see it from a God point of view. So that allows him to be kind of bemused and fascinated with humankind. Whereas Mark Twain doesn't have that. So he comes at it from this sort of position of like, sort of snide dismissal in a lot of ways. And both of which I find funny, just in different ways. And philosophically, I agree with G.K. Chesterton, of course. But I mean, I still love Mark Twain's work. It's just sort of I keep in mind like this is from the opposite point of view. Right? Oh, Doug's finally got here. Awesome. Sorry, that was like 20 minutes ago. I was like going on this rant about H.P. Lovecraft. Um, I'm hearing, sorry, somebody at the door. The bride is responding to. It's political season in Canada as well. We've got an election coming, so I don't know if it's that or whatever. Anyways, Martin says, I'm aware of the Banff Springs Hotel. It looks really beautiful and fancy, yeah, but I bet it's pricey. Oh, yes. I also heard ghost stories there, especially when about a ghost bride on spiral stairs. Every hotel has a ghost bride story. And I tried to look up, like, okay, were there any, bridal fatalities at the Banff Springs Hotel? And I have not turned up anything. So I don't know where a ghost bride comes from because no brides ever died there. But yeah, the Banff Springs Hotel is stunning, and we actually stayed there because the bride we got married in Banff, and we stayed at the Banff Springs Hotel for our wedding evening, and we paid $700 Canadian for a room that was actually going to be like sort of like in a back corridor, like around the side and whatever. And then they upgraded us to like a room in the tower with the view of the valley. So, okay, we paid $700 for what would have been like a crappy room. So I can only imagine how much the room we got upgraded to would have cost. But definitely over like $1,000 a night for sure. Probably even over 1,500 a night, I would imagine. But yeah, those hotels are not cheap to stay in. That is for sure. And the kicker with them though, because I've stayed in a few of them, a few of the railway hotels. I've stayed at the Palliser here in Calgary. I've stayed at the Banff Springs. I've stayed at the Hotel McDonald in Edmonton, so on. And what I find is like the rooms are just hotel rooms. Like they're not as beautiful as the public spaces. It's the public spaces that have all the like the medieval decor and the fine woodwork and all this sort of stuff. Whereas the rooms are just like a room. So, in fact, we went from staying at the Banff Springs Hotel for our wedding night to a honeymoon at Disney World, and our room in Disney World in the Port Orleans French Quarter was better decorated than our room at the Banff Springs. Like the room itself at Disney World was like themed to New Orleans, whereas the room in the Banff Springs was a hotel room. It was themed to a hotel room. So that was unfortunate. That's and now I guess they're sort of carrying the genericness out of the rooms and into the public spaces where it's like, no, you should be doing the opposite. Make the rooms fancier, not make the rest of the hotel boring. Unpopular opinion: the original Haunted Castle was better than Danse Macabre. Sure, I have watched videos. A lot of people recommended that I watch videos of the Spookslot, the original attraction in that spot. Um, it looks cool. It's hard to get the full experience of what going to the show would have been like from a video, where more of it's like surrounding you and you have that experience of being there. I mean, it looks cool. I'm sure if they had refurbished it, it would be fine, you know. But I gather it was not possible to refurbish it, so I don't know. I heard it was because uh, the building itself was like past its lifespan. So I don't know. I would love to see a theme park themed solely around hungry hippos. Well, at West Edmonton Mall and Galaxyland, they have the bumper cars themed to hungry hippos, which what they need like beach balls, big white beach balls in the pit with the bumper cars. That would have been fun, because the fun of hungry hippos is all the marbles going everywhere, right? So they needed to put beach balls in the hungry hippos ride. Also heard the words politics and economics. So what is your favorite episode of Cheers? To be honest, I have never really been a fan of amusement parks. To my mind, they're always super overstimulating, and only 5 minutes in one of those parks, and I feel that I never want to go again. You know, fair enough. Amusement parks or theme parks would be the distinction. Amusement parks, yeah, I totally get it, because it's just like a parking lot with a bunch of rides. You know, I don't even like roller coasters, so you know, to me, it's just like I wouldn't travel to go to like a Six Flags, or even if I was in a city that had like a better amusement park. No, actually, no. Hold on, I wouldn't. I wouldn't bother. Like, I would rather see the city than see the Six Flags. Um, so if it's just an amusement park, I wouldn't even bother going. We have one actually just outside of Calgary here, called Callaway Park, that actually originally the front half of it was Flintstones themed as well, because the Bedrock City parks in British Columbia had such a major hold on the Western Canadian theme park market that when they built this amusement park outside of Calgary called Callaway Park, the front half of it was themed to the Flintstones, and still is largely, even though they don't have the Flintstones license anymore. But you know, the architecture, they still have the architecture they had 30 years ago. Um, uh, that one I only go when it's like free. If I get like free coupons, because it's like, okay, it's kind of for nostalgia's sake. It's fun to go, because I remember like what used to be there. This used to be this. This used to be that. Oh, there's that thing from when I was a kid, whatever. Um, but yeah, I've never felt compelled to like, oh, I got to get like a season's pass to Callaway Park so I can ride the roller coaster. Okay, sure. Like, it's not really been a major thing for me. Maybe if I had a kid, that might be different. But if I ever go to Paris, I will do everything in my power to not lay my eyes on that dang tower. What, the Eiffel Tower? The Eiffel Tower. I mean, I know it's controversial, but the Eiffel Tower is huge, and I find it beautiful. I think it's, but then I'm into like the Jules Verne steampunk whatever stuff. So um, it's actually incredible to be in the presence of the Eiffel Tower. Um, the only problem is when you go into it, you can't see it anymore. It's like one of those things. Like, the problem with riding a train is that you can't see the train. The problem with being in the Eiffel Tower is you can't see the tower. So there is I forget which author it was. There was some French author who had lunch like every day in the Eiffel Tower, and people were like, "Well, you must really love the tower." And he's like, "No, this is the only place I can go where I don't see it." So, fair enough. My hungry hippos ride would just be a typical jungle river ride, but with a dark people eating twist on the critters. Nice. Also, roller coasters make me feel scared, and a smooth ride makes me just want to nap. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I don't have whatever the it is. I'm not like, I don't feel a need for like vicarious physical thrill, so I don't really like roller coasters. I don't really like drop rides. Like, thrill rides in general don't do it for me. Um, we actually have a great photo of me somewhere. Um, on the what is now the Incredicoaster, the California Screamin', California Adventure, and when it snapped the photo, I was like concentrating on not dying. I seriously, I'm in the roller coaster like I am not having fun. I am on this thing, but I am not enjoying it. So not dying is serious business, you guys. So this is why I like theme parks and I like themed attractions, and why I wish that like the Monsters Unchained was like a haunted mansion style dark ride and had the actual monsters in it. Because like I've been on Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey and it was terrible. I couldn't tell what the hell was going on. It's just this arm swinging you around. Oh, here's a screen. Oh, here's another screen. Okay, here's some animatronic thing you can't see, and then here's another screen. And it's like just it was just so jarring, and like I didn't get sick from it, but I certainly didn't enjoy it. I would have enjoyed like sitting in a cart and going through Hogwarts, like looking at all the cool stuff and seeing like all the paintings come to life and seeing all of like magic crap happening everywhere. I would have enjoyed that a lot more. So to have a Universal Monsters dark ride that doesn't have, or a ride that doesn't have the Universal Monsters in it and isn't a dark ride, it's a thrill ride, is sort of like, yeah, that's why I'm not booking the trip. That's for sure. When I was living in Germany, we went to Neuschwanstein. It was really beautiful, but we were so tiresome to walk up and down the mountain that it was built on. Yeah, I would love to see Neuschwanstein someday. I actually did like a term project in university on King Ludwig II as sort of a progenitor of theme park design. I was actually part of my Museum of Heritage Studies degree. So talking about themed design, because I'm actually fascinated by theme parks and theme design and the idea of building an environment to capture a sense of feeling and sense of place. Um, so like making your museum not just like stuff in boxes, but like making it look and feel like you're in an Egyptian temple, or you're in a Japanese grand meeting hall, or you're in a native village or whatever. I love that stuff, um, because it's conveying ineffable properties that just the object in glass case itself does not. It's giving you the feeling, the sense of if you were there, which as a visual spatial person, in Gardner's multiple learning intelligences, I'm visual spatial as my top. So I get information from the environment around me. Um, and I love theme design. So I studied it in university and did a term project on King Ludwig II because his castles are all like theme design. His grottos and whatnot. Um, he's trying to intentionally create these like theme spaces based mainly off Richard Wagner's stuff. Um, so I would love to see Neuschwanstein firsthand someday, but I don't know. I'm getting older. I don't know if that'll ever happen. I want to see it, but there's lots of places I want to go. So I don't know. I'm convincing my parents to go to Finland just for Moomin World. Today I got to go to Gatorland. Nice. Freedomland USA was that knockoff Disneyland in New York. That was kind of okay. Maybe I haven't heard of Freedomland then. Not gonna lie, I liked Spook Slot because it actually felt creepy and had a good slow pacing. It helped unfold it out really well. Oh, interesting. Like I said, I watched the video of Spook Slot. It looked cool. Obviously I never experienced it firsthand. I've never been to Efteling, sadly. Now I kind of want to go. The more I learn about it, the more I'm like, huh, interesting. Add that to the list of places I'll probably never get to in my lifetime. Because like Danse Macabre looks amazing. Their other dark rides and stuff look awesome. I'm not in love with the fact that the Flying Dutchman and Baron 1889 or whatever it is are roller coasters, but they look like they're themed really well, so they might be all right. But yeah, I the more I've seen about it, the more I'm interested in it. We'll see if it ever happens, if we ever get to go. I do have to admit that if God does exist, he's probably a not a psychopath ever. I mean, after being alive, if you sat down and talked with him, it'd be kind of rude. I hope not. I hope not. Oh, did expose have to go? I did not see. Sorry, you guys have got me on like long-winded topics here. Even my Bates Motel sign has died out now. What are your thoughts on Song of Fire and Ice or Game of Thrones? I know nothing. I have successfully avoided anything to do with A Song of Fire and Ice, or Ice and Fire, whatever, in Game of Thrones. I know nothing about it, except that there's like the one chick with the white hair. There's dragons. That's all I know. I am personally a nihilist, but not the nothing matters, so why should I live on sort of way, but more the nothing matters, so I can do whatever I want and not care what people think. Well, that's certainly a viewpoint. Lovecraft was an amazing author, but he was racist, which remind me that good authors are not always good humans. Case in point, Neil Gaiman. Yeah. I enjoy the books he has written, but he is a predator. Yes, he is. Yeah, I try not to learn about people whose art I like, because they tend to always disappoint. One of my big ones is H.G. Wells. The more I learned about him as a person, the less I can like his stuff and read his stuff, which is hard because like War of the Worlds is amazing. First Men in the Moon is amazing. Time Machine is amazing. Island of Dr. Moreau, but he was such an odious little man, odious, hateful little man, that it's hard to enjoy his work. Jules Verne, thankfully, was mostly an upright guy. He did have a mistress, but he's French, so that sort of just comes with the territory. H.P. Lovecraft, yeah, and in his case, but it's sort of like he's almost like so cartoonishly a weirdo that it almost distances it a little bit. Like, yeah, he was, but he was a racist, but not like how do you word it? It's not like he was in the KKK or something. It was like he was disgusted with humankind and especially with non-white people. Like he's such a strange case and almost cartoonish that it's like you can study it more at a distance to understand how it affected his work and how it shaped his work. Whereas like H.G. Wells is just like straight up like writing in his novel, like, yes, on our way to our utopian one world government, we just exterminated all the Christians and the Jews. Like, okay. Like, well, at least you said the quiet part out loud. Like, geez. Oh, and then also, made his wife arbitrate a dispute between two of his mistresses. There was that. Neil Gaiman, yeah. He's something. We actually just started watching Sandman on Netflix. So I was familiar with the Sandman comics up to a point. Now I prefer the Wesley Dodds Sandman, the old school Sandman, or the new comics they've made based on him, all set in the 1930s. But yeah, you can actually did I posted a meme about this on my Facebook page. I should post it to my YouTube channel too, about how my life is mirrored by which Sandman I was at the time. So in my 20s, I was like the Neil Gaiman Sandman, and now in my 40s, I'm like the Golden Age Sandman. Dumpy old guy with glasses. I suppose he's back. My philosophy is basically just nothing matters, so might as well make the most of it now, sort of. Case in point, said Edgar Rice Burroughs, as he supported scientific racism and eugenics both in fiction and real life. Yeah. Well, I mean, like eugenics was sort of the cause célèbre of the left before the Second World War. Eugenics was like the thing. It was the idea that she's like one of the sort of defining characteristics of the left politically is the belief that society is perfectible. Conservatives tend to be more like Hobbesians, right? Like society is, people are mired in original sin. You can't do anything about that. So you kind of construct society in a way to mitigate the fact that humans are awful. And so you need law and order. Whereas the left tends to believe that human beings are mutable and that if you change humans enough, you can perfect society. You can make society utopia. And so prior to the Second World War, eugenics was like a major left-wing cause. It was the left wing that was like, we have to sterilize undesirables. And we can scientifically perfect humankind and have, um, specialized human breeding programs and things like that. Um, which is why, like, when people say, like, oh, the Austrian painter and his people were they're socialists or they're left, it's like, well, anybody can call themselves anything. But the fact that they were pro eugenics, that would be like the argument to make that actually Austrian painter man was left wing. But then, like, the outcome of the Second World War made eugenics be not in vogue for a while, but it is coming back. Um, a lot of the arguments for um, uh, terminating a pregnancy are eugenic in nature. And uh, God, friggin' Star Trek Strange New World supports eugenics. They've had a couple episodes now where they use eugenics, like genetic engineering, as a metaphor for oppressed minorities, and it's like it tacitly supports eugenics. Like, we're supposed to believe that the descendant of Khan is a poor oppressed minority. It's like, no, the Federation has good reason for banning eugenics. Eugenics is bad. Um, but the modern Star Trek is written by idiots, so they didn't pick up on that eugenics is bad. So that's kind of coming back into vogue now, which is unfortunate. Anyways, is it true that Canadians use Monopoly money? We do have multicolored money. Is it just like original Monopoly, or like I have this Pokemon Monopoly, I can use money from that? Our money is multicolored. That is a $5 bill right there. And this is a $20 bill. $10 bills are purple. $50 bills are red. $100 bills are brownish. So yes, we have multicolored money. Some people call it Monopoly money. This is a strong graphic design. One attraction you need to see is the Darkest Deal from Halloween Horror Nights 2023. It is one of the best haunted attractions I've done that are from the 2010s. Cool. Yeah, I've been watching off and on Halloween Horror Nights videos. After I did my video realizing that, like, Dark Universe is so bad that it's actually changed my opinion a bit about how they did Universal Monsters at Halloween Horror Nights. Like, I still don't think the gore horror fits with the Universal Monsters, but if you were going to reimagine the monsters in that milieu, that's probably about the best you could do. And I do like that they continue the story in their own ways. So you have these, like, direct sequels with the bride trying to resurrect the Frankenstein monster, and then the girls get it done, and the one there, the where you have, like, Karis and Dracula fighting over this jewel of the sun or whatever. I find those interesting. I don't think I would care so much to be walking through it and having them popping out at me and trying to rip out my spine and whatever else. But hey, whatever. Then I watch other Horror Nights videos, and it's like, I love that one with the giant bugs, the giant bug house, where it's like this retro 50s, almost kind of like a Fallout kind of thing. And then you have, like, the giant bugs coming in, which is horrifying, especially like it's called trypanophobia or whatever, where you, like, the fear of, like, holes and things burrowing into you. Yeah, no, it gets that. It sets off my body horror. But the whole, like, retro 50s sci-fi thing was, like, great. It looks so cool. So a lot of those, like, original haunted houses look really neat. There's another one, it's like a ghost pirate or like a Flying Dutchman kind of themed one, I think, that I also thought looked pretty cool from what I remember. I feel like however most haunted houses now are just brain rot, and I miss the older ones because they knew how to do pacing right. Yeah, well, yeah, it's like a lot of them are just like, boo, here's blood, and here's guts, and here's things popping out at you, and whatever. Building an atmosphere is certainly better than just blood, gore, and guts, but people are dumb. That's not fair. People are more interested in visceral thrill than they are in building atmosphere, because building atmosphere requires more investment of emotional energy than just, here is gore served to you on a platter. That is my fair way of saying it. You know how people don't like to talk about how the Washington Monument was made by slaves? Eiffel Tower was built by dino slaves. Naturally, yes, obviously. We got photos on those stairs. They are pretty, but I can't see there being space to die on the spiral. Spiral. What are we talking about again? Can't remember. Dino indentured servants, you get my point. LOL. I was writing not dying serious business. I'm also a romantic, so seeing the modern symbol of romantic attraction is kind of weird. It makes me feel like I don't belong. Fair enough. I mean, I was single the first time I went to. No, was I? No, technically I wasn't single, but I was practically single the first time I went. I was effectively single by that point. Yeah, here's the thing, like for me, it was less a symbol of like romantic love as like romanticism in the broad sense. And that's sort of a. I'm going to turn this off. That is sort of a subset of sort of my francophilia, my being in love with everything French, um, sort of the and French sci-fi in particular, Jules Verne and whatever else, and the architecture and the religious history of it. Like I've probably mentioned this before, but like Notre Dame de Paris is like my spiritual home away from home. Like I love Notre Dame. It is amazing. I do want to see it again before I die. Um, Especially now that they've done the renovations and everything, they repairing it after the fire. It looks very bright. I'm not sure I like it. It feels like they've kind of stripped off the layers of history there. I'm not sure how it looks in person or whatever. But anyways, I digress. Loving French culture and history and everything else. Um, to me, the Eiffel Tower was kind of a symbol of that, more so than like, oh, I wish I had a girlfriend to be walking around the Eiffel Tower with. It is nice when you do. Um, and God, we saw like 3 or 4 proposals on the night we were there. It's like, well, I guess I'm not proposing to the bride tonight. But proposing at the Eiffel Tower is cheesy. I proposed. Well, she also proposed to me at Disneyland Paris. But no, I don't think you have to let its status as like this symbol of romantic love stand in the way of appreciating the engineering feat of it, the aesthetic beauty of it, and sort of the historical place, the cultural place, and just sort of it it as a symbol of modern France. Right? Think of like Notre Dame de Paris is like the symbol of medieval France. The Eiffel Tower would be the symbol of modern France. Um, so you look at it that way, makes it a little bit different. But do they have any prehistoric rides at Efteling? I don't know. I don't think so. I haven't seen anything about dinosaurs. Efteling is like mostly based on fairy tales, so I don't think dinosaurs really factor into that. Speaking of racism and colonialism, what are your thoughts on isolated tribe of North Sentinel Island? I'm familiar with that missionary who tried to convert them to Christianity and he got killed. Yeah, don't leave them alone. Like, missionaries are a complex subject, and it is one that we have a lot of discussions about in Christian circles about what is effective missionary activity. And trying to be careful to not to learn the lessons of the past when missionary activity was used as a part of imperialism, like British imperialism and so on, and how that was a misuse of the missionary ethos, and how to do proper missionary activity that actually helps others, and in the context of that, evangelize, but that isn't just like steamrolling in and trying to destroy a culture. But for all of those discussions, if there is a tribe that is going to kill you when you land on the island, maybe you shouldn't land on the island. Just leave them alone. So, anyways, Um, just leave them alone. Are there any horror comics that you could see being made into movies? Or will they just continue to turn that media into TV streaming shows? Um, yeah, I don't know. I think the thing with like the EC horror comics, like well, there we go, EC comics, is that they weren't exactly like very intellectually rigorous. you know, they were more, and deliberately so. They were more involved and erudite than a lot of other horror comics. A lot of horror comics at the time were just like Bleh, monster, whereas the EC comics actually went for interesting ideas, and especially like the science fiction comics. Actually, I almost like weird science and weird fantasy more than I like Tales from the Crypt. Because Tales from the Crypt is okay, but you kind of get used to like after a while, it's like okay, what is the ironic punishment that this character is going to get? Whereas weird science and weird fantasy are more sort of like highbrow science fiction ideas. Um, a lot of them though, if it's like I'll get like a page and a half into it, I'm like, wait a second, this is the Telltale Heart. Wait a second, this is literally King Kong. This story is King Kong right here. Um, you can recognize what movie or book they're pulling it from. But I don't think any of them really stand up on their own as like something you could make a whole movie out of. I think the Tales from the Crypt series from the 90s was like the best way to do it. I mean, a little heavy on the gore, the modern setting and everything. Um, but like, just short little half-hour episodes, and just boom, 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 and you're good. It's perfect for just a 5, 6, 7 page story in an old comic. So I don't think they'll really ever improve on that format. I don't know if they're ever going to try with another, like make another Tales from the Crypt series. I don't know if you even could. Like it's would be weird to do without the Crypt Keeper, and he's not getting any younger. So John Cassar, or his name. Um, just I mean, they might pull it off. It'd just be different, right? But um, it was such a unique thing and did it so well. I would be hard pressed to see how they could do another Tales from the Crypt really well. I'd almost rather they just try and do something original than just try and remake Tales from the Crypt. Where are we at here? Oh yeah. Uh, skip that comment, Rex. Anyone else like matcha? The Pokemon fans, yeah, matcha. Doug's been playing Pokemon Go 9 years. I was like a Digimon guy, so I'm not really super familiar with Pokemon. Colin, hey! Have you ever done the Escape from Frankenstein's Lab at Confined Escape Rooms? It's on 32nd. I have not done that, which sounds like I should. Maybe we should make a party of it. So, next time you guys are in Calgary or something, we should like do the Frankenstein's Lab escape room or something. We did. I don't know if it was at the same place. No, it wasn't at Confined. It was another place that was in Mount Royal Village. There, just like 17th and 8th. It was this terrible Egyptian one. It's like you're trapped in an ancient Egyptian tomb, and now you have to figure out how to get out using a solar calculator and bicycle locks and things like, oh my god. They didn't even think about how to do this. They just dressed up like they looked in the book and they got some puzzles and then they dressed it up like an Egyptian tomb. And it took so long to figure out the last one because they screwed it up when they made it that I gave up. I'm like, I am out of here. So the bride and her brother were like, we're going to solve this. And I'm like, I'm out. See ya. Left the room. Like, I'm done. Anything attacking eyeballs is just my deepest creep. Oh, yeah. I hear you. Well, I get body horror pretty easily. So, like, because I self-insert. So if I see somebody getting, like, mutilated and destroyed and whatever, and, things in the eyeballs, I imagine that happening to me, and I do not like it. In fact, last night we watched that episode of The Sandman where Dr. Destiny has the ruby and he like makes everyone say the truth, which results in his fantasy, everyone having an orgy and then killing themselves. Um, and there was like the end part where everybody is doing the self deletion. I had to not watch. I was just like, nope, 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 not watching, not watching. And it's like they're talking for a bit, like, okay, this is good, and then he's going on about like you have to blind yourself to see. He's like, nope, not watching that. No. So like I have my limits. That's part of also why I like the classic horror, is because it doesn't set off my body horror. That's not something I need. So Monster Kid probably doesn't give a Charizard about Pokemon. Yeah, Pokemon is cockfighting. It's just cockfighting. See, this is okay. Why Digimon is better than Pokemon? So, Digimon has these monsters who partner with these kids. And as the kids grow in the traditional virtues of kindness and courage and whatnot, the monsters also grow in power. So as the kids become better people, the monsters get more powerful, and the monsters are all fighting this evil force. Pokemon is literally kids capture animals and make them fight. That is the plot of Pokemon. So Digimon is better. And now, because of a cross-marketing campaign, we now know for a fact Godzilla is a Digimon. So, Godzilla is not a Pokemon. Godzilla is a Digimon. What are your thoughts on French sci-fi comics like Valerian? I have a bias. Okay. So I have a bias for the Victorian ones. So, like, the Extraordinary Adventures of Adele Blanc-Sec. I love that one. Like, Jacques Tardy and Adele Blanc-Sec. I love those comics. They're great. I've read a few other ones like Captain Nemo and stuff like that. Um, Generally, I like the European sci-fi vibe. Um, like it's sort of it's really interesting and quirky and different than like North American sci-fi. North American sci-fi, with some exceptions, like the show Lex, which is a Canadian sci-fi show, um, where they're flying around in a giant bug. Um, North American sci-fi is very sort of tends to be kind of like this rote, like it's hero's journey over and over again. It's very dominated by like Star Wars and Star Trek, which are very straightforward properties. Whereas like European science fiction has sort of this like kind of quirky artsiness to it. And it's like you can tell when you're watching like a sci-fi movie by a European writer or director, like Fifth Element, um, for example. Like I mean anything by frick, can't remember his name all of a sudden. Luc Besson. There we go. Who did an adaptation of Adele Balsec. Like Luc Besson, um, uh, Jean-Pierre Jeunet as well. So like City of Lost Children. Um, like you can tell there's like a different tone to it, sort of quirky and artsy kind of sci-fi. Even like old Doctor Who, like not well, forget about modern Doctor Who, but like classic Doctor Who was like also kind of quirky and interesting and different and strange. Um, than what one would. I mean, it's just immortal Time Lord flying around in a police box. Like, yeah, that's a little bit different from like Star Wars. Um, there's actually an episode of Pokemon that gave kids seizures. Yeah, let cannibals eat their own. What are your thoughts on Hellboy? It's been a million years since I've read the comics, but I like the first ones. Um, I started reading Hellboy, and then just so much of it, I kind of fell out of reading comics and yada yada yada. But I mean, I love Mike Mignola's stuff. Um, Atlantis is like the best Hellboy movie. Um, Amazing Screw on Head is great. Hellboy was great as like an original concept steeped in sort of pulp fiction and H.P. Lovecraft sort of ideas. Really enjoyed it. I just didn't keep up with it. The movie was a movie. It happened. Um, I think you should have a second channel that's almost the same, but instead have it just about religion and politics, so people can get mad over there and not here. What makes you think I don't have a second channel that's about religion and politics? Um, last Hellboy movie was unwatchable. I didn't see it. So, Stephen King's Creepshow, first published to resemble EC comic book, was a wonderful love letter to the genre. George Romero's film just nailed every trope. Creepshow 2, less so, few gems. Yeah, Creepshow is fun, and yeah, as like an homage to the old comics. Like it was good. I mean, I still have that image. The one that I remember the most is Stephen King covered in moss shooting his own. you know, not having a solution for his problem of turning into a plant, except that. Big fan of mecha? Heck yeah. My favorite mecha series is Macross, this as a franchise. Um, Super Dimension, Fortress Macross, Macross Plus, and Macross Frontier being my favorites. Macross 7 I do not like. Macross Delta is okay. I respect the architecture of the tower and the history, but seeing countless images with it where people were celebrating a type of relationship I don't have makes it kind of hard for me to separate it. Yeah, fair enough. Colin, a friend that used to run Screamworks owns it. I've done some of the other rooms and they were fun. I'm sure we could get a group together and go. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. We can go escape from a room and then go hang out in Aubrey's basement. Or who knows? Maybe by the time you do that, I'll have my tiki basement up and running. Won't have a wet bar though, unfortunately. We don't have the plumbing for that set up. But who knows? I'll get one of those like Margaritaville mixers, and we can have like one of my slightly alcoholic milkshakes that passes for a tiki drink. I think the horror comic Something is Killing the Children could make for an alright movie, though not an anthology. Okay. My series that I talked about on these streams have Lovecraftian elements with ancient eldritch deities worshipped by the indigenous vampires. Cool. Valerian got turned into a movie. I understand at least 4 people went to see it. I did watch Valerian. I have seen it. Streaming. I liked it. It was okay. The only thing is the leads were weak. Because it's hard to believe that this like 16-year-old boy is like the galaxy's greatest spy. And Cara Delevingne, or whatever her name is, she's always kind of just sleazy. And so I have a hard time like really seeing her in roles, and not like I don't see her as like embodying a role. She's always her as this kind of like sleazy chick that it like is kind of sleazy in real life. So that was sort of the weakest part, which I guess, it's bad when the weakest part is the leads. But the rest of it was okay. I mean, that opening scene, the montage with Space Oddity, like, is amazing. Like, you can just watch that opening sequence just by itself, and it's like just it's great. I can almost bring a tear to your eye if you're really into like the idea of sort of like peaceful contact with other species and other humans, even. Right? The way they put that all together is great. All we want is a third and proper conclusion of the Guillermo del Toro series. I don't care if it's just animated. Get it on Netflix, give it to us. I think Digimon has a better anime. Pokemon has better games. Oh, fair enough. I mean, Digimon is just the little pocket monster, right? Little Tamagotchi sort of thing. Love it, Sec. Did you read the recent Universal Frankenstein comics? I have not seen them. All right, like I love Skybound comics. Like their Transformers is great. Their lead ups to GI Joe are great. I just pick up the trade paperbacks though. I don't like read the issues, the floppies. I've been like waiting forever for the next trade paperbacks. Like I had this period of like 4 months where I bought like both Transformers and both Void Rivals and Duke and Destro and Cobra Commander and Scarlet. And then it's like nothing. And that's because the comics themselves took a hiatus of like 6 months or whatever. So it's like, I have just like, come on. Where's the next Transformers trade paperback? Where's the next Void Rivals trade paperback? Where's the G.I. Joe trade paperback? Give it to me. So Skybound is great. I'm hoping to get trade paperbacks for their Universal Monster ones. Because I know there's Frankenstein, the Mummy, and the Creature. I know are the ones for sure, the ones I know about that they've made. I'm interested in them. I just want to. I just want to. I just don't want to spend $5 on 20 pages that have like no content. I'd rather just spend the 20 or whatever on the trade paperback and get the whole story all at once. So hopefully that comes out soon, and I can actually get it. But yeah, all the comic shops in my city are closing down too. Which is the thing. I grew up with the Del Sec. Nice. The Hellboy comic was better than any of the movies. Yeah, I bet. Yeah. Well, no, I mean I know for sure. The first one was. Did you see Minecraft? No. Me and my dad watched classic Doctor Who. Cool. Chicken Jockey. Oh my god. I've heard about the Chicken Jockey thing. I'm gonna steer clear of that one. It's weird though, because like, I know the director's like, yeah, Chicken Jockey. Movie theaters are like, oh my god, no, stop, call the cops. Um, I get it in the same sense as like I am a veteran of Rocky Horror Picture Show. Like I have seen Rocky Horror Picture Show live. Well, seen the movie with everything going on, toast flying everywhere and whatnot. Um, I'm a veteran of Rocky Horror Picture Show, so I know how to do the time warp. Not the instructions aren't in the video or in the song. Um, so I get the chicken jockey thing. Like I understand it. It's just don't do it on people who aren't signed up for it. Like if you go to Rocky Horror, you know what you're getting yourself into. Whereas if you just like went with your kids to see Minecraft and suddenly this chaos erupts around you, I could see where that would be a bit off-putting. So, anyways, um, da, 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 da. I watched Minecraft for my birthday a few days ago. Oh, happy birthday! Don't like the Daleks. They give Mex a bad name. Can you do a dry bar? You can. It's a little hard with tiki though, because tiki drinks are they're very labor intensive and very wet. It's not like just pouring some highballs or whatever. Um, you have to get for blender and you got to mix all these different like juices and all sorts of stuff. So it can get a little messy. So having a wet bar is really handy if you're into tiki drinks. Um, so yeah, unfortunately, it would make it a little difficult in my space because we don't have a wet bar in it. But who knows? We'll see if at the very least I can get a Margaritaville mixer and just make some basically Slurpees that have some alcohol in them. What's your opinion on Barbarella and Danger Diabolique? I don't have opinions on them. Haven't actually seen them. Speaking of European comic movies, I thought Valerian was okay, but Tintin was superior. A physical release for both. Cool. I have not seen Tintin. Hanoi Jane played Barbarella. Digimon has a number of games that cover a lot of genres, very few worth playing. Sure. If I ever get consistent money, I will buy them and send them to you. Cool. French like criminals as heroes, like Fantomas and Lupin III. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. The gentleman thief kind of thing. What's the worst haunted attraction to ever exist in your opinion? Pick any random ghost train at like a state fair. Um, there's actually one they used to bring to the Calgary Stampede. It's called the Witch House. And it was awesome because it was so retro. Um, so it was yellow and there was the ticket booth was like this big witch, but almost like paper mache almost. Like it was really like really retro, really, sort of lowbrow art style. And then you go in this thing, and for the most part, it's just like you're going through a hallway in a cart. And then like and there's like this skeleton, but it's not like a realistic skeleton. It was like this metal, sort of again kind of like lowbrow art version of a skeleton. So it was so like ridiculously retro that I kind of loved it. But they've stopped bringing that one to the Stampede, and now they just bring this other one, the Haunted Mansion, which is like, as Disney hasn't taken exception to that, and the Haunted Mansion is just like bad. Like, it's not like kind of fun retro bad. It's just bad. So yeah, pick any random ghost train at a state fair, and that will be the worst haunted attraction in the world. There's also a Dracula Skybound comic. Okay, I didn't remember if they did Dracula or not. Sounds similar to Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. Minecraft fans exerting themselves. Does Chicken Jockey enhance Minecraft or ruin it? I don't know. Does it enhance Minecraft? I haven't even played Minecraft, so I couldn't tell you. I'm a little bit familiar about it because I used to work with kids and teaching rocks to kids. So their context is like, is redstone real? Like, that's a question we would get. Um, so how do you make obsidian in real life? So I've had to become familiar with Minecraft a bit, but not like story wise. I don't know jack all about the Minecraft story. I love Barbarella, if only for the Duran Duran reference. The Flint films are great spoofs, along with Modesty Blaze. Fathom need to see Diabolique as well. I bet people are going to go insane if we get a bite of 87 scene in the next FNAF movie. Sir, you can't hide a shirt that awesome behind a jacket. Like this? Thank you. Barbarella does have some good special effects for its time. It was made by some of the same people with Flash Gordon. Fair enough. Pygar was the prototype for the Hawkman. The theater I went to the movie was chill. Nobody chicken jockeyed. What are you talking about? Something is killing the children. It's very good horror mystery that explains a lot of issues with things like... Oh, fun. It's a lighthearted commentary then. Oh my god, did I finally get caught up to the chat? Oh my word. Whew. Good. That was some good discussion there. On got me going off on theme parks and going off on H.P. Lovecraft. Let's see, who's even in the chat right now? Okay. Duran Duran was the villain in Barbarella. Yes, Duran Duran the band is named after the character in Barbarella, not the other way around. Oh, my. Have a moment to breathe here. And some high quality live streaming. Dead air. Minecraft doesn't really have a story. It's more about building things and having fun with friends. I think that's probably why I haven't played it. Because it's sort of one of those things where it's like, why am I building stuff on Minecraft when I should be building stuff in real life? Put all this effort into making a 1-to-1 scale USS Enterprise in Minecraft. It's like I could be writing a book or something. So I'm not a big grinder on video games because I'm like, I should be grinding in real life. Video games should be fun, not a grind. As the bride is undoubtedly playing Red Dead Online right now and grinding her character on that. Did you watch any of WrestleMania? Was it underwhelming to anyone else? I did not watch WrestleMania because I don't watch WWE. I just sort of know what happens on it just because the wrestling zeitgeist. I watch AEW, except last night I missed it. But I don't watch WWE. But I am aware the only part that looked like that had any interest for me really was Joe Hendry appearing. Because I've known about Joe Hendry since WCPW when he was like, maybe slightly more muscle than me. So to see him kind of rise up through like TNA and now being on WrestleMania, like good for him, good for Joe Hendry. I mean, the end there is like, well, yeah, okay, sure, I guess, I don't know. I was amused by like John Cena calling out the crowd booing Cody. It's like, dude, Cody was booed out of AEW. Like, Cody didn't really leave because like, oh, he had to finish his story. he was booed out of AEW. Like there was nowhere he could go in AEW except like a heel turn. Um, and he was practically getting X-Pac heat. Like he was getting go away heat, not like boo, you're a bad guy heat. So it's like, okay, yeah, good. WWE fans have caught up to the fact that nobody likes Cody. Like Cody I think is more of a natural heel, and he keeps trying to be like the all-American hero, 80s wrestling hero. It's like, Cody, just give it up. Like the best um the best angle you did outside of WWE was when you were the villain to Kenny Omega fighting for control of Bullet Club. That was your best angle. So, like, stop trying to be the all American hero, Cody. It ain't working. Nobody wants you in that role. What is your favorite theme to see that you never get tired of seeing represented, no matter how bad the representation? I'm not sure I understand the question. Theme of what, dear bride? I don't care for alcohol, but if I have a tiki bar, it would be Jurassic Park themed dry bar. um, I mean, dry bar is just you don't have a sink in it. That's what a dry bar is. Um, Jurassic Park theme, yeah, they did that at Universal. I don't know if they still have it, but they do have like a tiki bar in the like by the Jurassic Park ride at Universal. So, um, which is like you could do Jurassic Park tiki because the island is off the west coast of Costa Rica. So technically it's in the Pacific. So it's Jurassic Park is tiki, okay. And the aesthetic that they for Jurassic World is like but Jurassic Park, the aesthetic of Jurassic Park actually meshes really well with tiki. So you could have Jurassic Park tiki, I think. There would be tiki purists who would like lose their shit over it, but that's what they do anyways. So, are you going to see the Thunderbolts? Nope, not planning on it. I'm I've been interested in Fantastic Four because I like the retro futurist vibe that they're gonna do with it. But I keep hearing mixed things about it, so I'm not sure if I will ever. Well, I mean, at least if I still have Disney Plus, and when it pops up on Disney Plus, I might watch it. I don't know if I'll do the theater. It depends what I see from reviews of it. But I have thought that if what they should have done for the MCU after Endgame was use the X-Men for their like serious topical stories, and then use Fantastic Four for like the wacky gonzo like crazy stuff. Like, the first movie should be leave out Galactus and leave out Doctor Doom, and the first movie should be like them versus the Mole Man. Like, um, have Mole Man and Annihilus and Kang and whatnot. Like just the wacky crazy villains, and then Doctor Doom, and and then Galactus should have been like the end game of the next 10 years, right? Galactus should have been the big bad guy who would come at the end of the whole thing, like Thanos was. That's how I would have done it. But we're gonna get Fantastic Four in like a retro futurist 1960s, and Galactus is gonna stomp all over the Earth and whatever. And it's like, okay, cool. That looks cool. Like the whole retro futurist stuff looks cool. Um, I don't think Pedro Pascal is like the best choice for Reed Richards. Um, I would have stuck with John Krasinski, but maybe he only wanted to do the one cameo. Um, I don't know, but whatever. But then I've been hearing mixed things about like, oh no, it's all about like gender politics. Like, oh, okay, that's disappointing then. So I don't know, but we'll see. We'll see if I see Fantastic Four. My brother recently got Red Dead Redemption 2 and played it for 2 days, then went back to TF2. Red Dead Redemption is great. I love that entire series. Red Dead 1 I think Red Dead 1 is actually better than Red Dead 2 in terms of story. Like the graphics and everything and the depth of the world in Red Dead 2 is amazing. But Red Dead 1 I think has a better story. But anyways. Did you know it's the 70th anniversary of Godzilla Raids Again? Like today? Cool. Oh yeah, I guess 2025. It was 1955. So yeah. I'm interested in the new Superman because he has robots working for him. I do want to see the new Superman. Um, I do want to see that one. I think it looks good. I don't know why people are complaining about David Corowest as Superman. He looks fine. The suit, yeah, they changed the suit a little, but it looks more realistic, I guess. I don't know. Um, how do you do Superman's suit and have it look not ridiculous? Um, I like that it has the Justice League International in it, or a variation thereof. It doesn't have blue like Booster Gold and Blue Beetle in it, but like Nathan Fillion is like dead on for Guy Gardner. Like he looks exactly like Guy Gardner. Um, so he's actually one I'm most looking forward to seeing because like I grew up reading Justice League International as a kid, so I remember like those characters. Those are the ones that I grew up with. So seeing like Nathan Fillion doing a dead on Guy Gardner is actually pretty funny. And like everyone complaining about like, oh, he looks like such a dork. It's like, yeah, he does. That's the point. He is. He is a dorky douchebag. That's Guy Gardner. So perfect, bang on, good job. Metamorpho looks good as well. Um, yeah, I don't know. I mean, and then Crypto. Like, I like Crypto. I'm ready for the fun stuff. You know, I'm almost willing to give another chance to the '60s Batman show. Um, but you know, you can have like the oppressively bleak and dark the Batman, and that works. I mean, if they make Batman any darker and grittier and bleak, it's gonna just be a black screen. But I'm ready for like bright, cheery, happy sort of Silver Age slash post crisis '80s Superman. Um, why not? You know, Superman is like the superhero. So he is great for having lots of different ideas and sort of deconstructing and exploring the idea of superheroes. And so Man of Steel, I enjoyed. I thought Man of Steel was an interesting take on Superman. And I mean, I liked it a lot more than like Superman Returns. Batman v Superman isn't the choice I would have made for your next film, but okay. It wasn't the worst thing I've ever seen. Um, but you know, that's one take on Superman, and now we're gonna get another take on Superman, and that's fine. You know, so I'm definitely interested in seeing Superman for sure. I watched too much wrestling, AEW and WWE. I am a huge mark though. Thought Penta was good. Yeah. You know, I see. Here's the thing. It's like I don't watch WWE, but I don't hate other people for doing it. Like the internet wrestling community is like so toxic, and it's really hard to like as a fan of AEW. Like I can't look at a video of AEW without seeing the comments is full of people shitting on it. It's like go away then. Like why are you watching? Why are you commenting on a show that you don't like? Go go watch the show you do. Like whatever, man. Um, like I don't go to WWE videos and shit on WWE. Like I've maybe made one or two comments about CM Punk being a giant baby, but like that's shitting on CM Punk. That's not shitting on WWE. I don't myself like WWE, so I just don't watch it. um, but you know, so I'm what I'm saying, William, is that I respect that you watch them both, you love them both. You know, I'm happy for Penta if he's doing good, then great, good for Penta. Like that's great for him. I would have loved to keep him in AEW and keep him doing stuff, but if he felt his career was taking him to WWE and he can make more money and have a bigger stage and whatever, then good for him. If he's doing good, then great. I hope they don't just sort of relegate him to like, oh look, he's the quirky lucha guy and actually like give him a chance, which historically WWE hasn't really done if your name isn't Mysterio. So, anyways, yeah, no, good. I hope Penta's doing well. Um, where are we at here? There we go. 5th anniversary to my favorite non-Gigan Godzilla Kaiju. Godzilla Raids Again introducing Gearus. Yep. Meager for Crypto. Yeah. Are you a Bond fan? Yes and no. I go through phases. Um, I did like every Bond has at least one good movie. You know? So like Daniel Craig, I liked Casino Royale. I liked Skyfall. Um, Quantum of Solace and Spectre were okay. I didn't see the last one though. Just wasn't interested. Um, for Pierce Brosnan, Goldeneye is his best one and one of the best Bond movies. Period. Um, Sean Connery is where it's at for me because I like retro stuff. So the original 60s James Bond is like where it's at for me. Um, of his films, my favorites are Doctor No and Goldfinger. Doctor No because it's like the first one, so it's like laying out this groundwork, and then Goldfinger is where it hits its stride as like this is James Bond. This is the fancy cars and the crazy inventions and the insane plots and all that sort of stuff. That's where it becomes James Bond is in Goldfinger. So those are my two favorite ones. Um, that Crypto is a terrier type, just freaking adorable. Yeah. Crypto seems playful. Yeah, the the fact that like most of Superman's broken bones are from Crypto is actually pretty funny. Are you going to see the new Jurassic World? ScarJo is going to be in it. I am not planning on it. I noped out with Jurassic World 2, Fallen Kingdom. That was such a dumb movie, and I was actually like insulted by how dumb it was. Like, oh, like Blue, she's so important because she's like such an emotional connection with Owen. Like Blue tried to kill Owen repeatedly in the previous movie. Do you not remember that? I remember that. I remember Blue trying to kill him repeatedly in the previous movie. Um, and then the whole like, oh, we have this Indominus Indominoraptor that we've made as a weapon. It's like, first of all, using dinosaurs as like weapons is stupid. It's like, yeah, let's release a raptor onto the battlefield in an age when like snipers can hit a target from so far away they have to account for the curvature of the earth when they aim. Like, sure, okay, let's use raptors as weapons. Like, okay, but then it's like this Indominus raptor. Like you have to ping a target with a laser mounted on a rifle. Like you have a clear sniper shot. Then just use it. Why are you sending the dinosaur after it? And then the whole just like genetic engineering and oh they are alive like me. It's like no, you should be dead too. Um, let's release like the ultimate invasive species onto the planet. Then great, good idea. It's just like it's so dumb, and it's like it's written. It's just dumb. They're so dumb, and they're hoping the audience is dumb, and I cannot abide that. So I do not like Jurassic World. I did not watch the last one. I am not going to watch the new one. I am done with Jurassic World. It is over for me. I wonder if I'm having a virgin Mai Tai, but when I ordered one at Trader Vic's, they keep giving me orange juice with some limeade. That would be a virgin Mai Tai. That would, yeah, that would be a virgin Mai Tai. If you're not having the alcohol in the Mai Tai, it's just like a fruit cocktail. Doesn't work quite as well as like a virgin pina colada or something like that. Jurassic World movie. At least you've been to Trader Vic's though. I have not been to a Trader Vic's. I want to go to a Trader Vic's. I think the next Trader Vic's I'll actually get to is the one in Tokyo. But I was going to go. Excuse me. When we had planned this trip to Yosemite and Sequoia and Kings Canyon in June of 2020, didn't happen for certain illnesses, global things that shall not be mentioned. We were flying in and out of San Francisco. So our San Francisco part of our trip was actually based around when the tiki bars were open. So it's like going from Yosemite back to San Francisco and stopping in at the Trader Vic's in Oakland. And then we would be staying down at Fisherman's Wharf at the hostel there, and then going to like the Tonga room there at the Fairmont Hotel was the main one, and then like Smuggler's Cove or whatever it is, Zombie Village, Pagan Idol, all there in main part of San Francisco there. That was all in the itinerary and based around like, hey, when are these places open? When do we go? What do we do during that day before it's open? All that sort of stuff. But wanted to go to the Trader Vic's especially because that was like the other founding tiki bar, and I missed going to Don the Beachcomber. I had multiple chances, but I wasn't really into tiki enough to like pull myself away from Disneyland to go to Don the Beachcomber. Um, Now, like the next time I'm in Los Angeles, it's gonna be like tiki tour time. So I'm gonna hit like, gotta go to Tiki Tea and gotta go to the warehouse or whatever it is, and well, Trader Sam's I always go to because it's right at Disneyland. But anyways, alas, no Don the Beachcomber. Although I guess there is still the Don the Beachcomber at the hotel in Kona. So we go to Hawaii, and Kilauea keeps erupting. So, except right now, nobody's from Canada is going to the U.S. So, anyways, Jurassic World movies left a bad taste in my mouth. So I'm going with my gut and not watch Rebirth unless it comes out on home video. Yeah. Fantastic Four should be a cool sci-fi movie with retro elements. I'm worried that it will be atrocious. Yeah, Peter Pascal's in everything. It does look like they'll have Red Ghost and the Super Apes. That'd be nice. What are your thoughts on the genetic engineered wolves that they're claiming are resurrected direwolves? They're not direwolves. Um, yeah, it's. I mean, fun stunt. So what they did, for those of you who don't know, like there was that whole news about the dire wolves, the resurrected dire wolves. What they did is they took gray wolves, Canis lupus occidentalis, and using CRISPR, it's a genetic editing software device, they just replaced certain genes with genes that they believe ape the characteristics of dire wolves. And so they have like was it like three of these pseudo direwolves that were basically just northwestern gray wolves, but they were kind of like a little bit heavier, a little stockier, a little more robust jaws, like direwolves did. But they're not direwolves. Like direwolves aren't even related to gray wolves. There's like Acynodon dirus. Like they're not even the same genus anymore. Because genetic testing on the fossils has found like no, they're like an entirely different genus from wolf, even. So yeah, these are not dire wolves. To get a dire wolf, you would have to get like a complete strand of Acynodon dirus DNA, and then implant that into an egg, and then you can put that in like a host gray wolf mother, sure. Then it gives birth to an actual Acynodon dirus. Um, that would be resurrecting a direwolf. This is just a genetically modified gray wolf. So, and maybe they might learn something from it, like its characteristics, like what it does, behavior. But I mean, it's not a direwolf. It's not like resurrecting a woolly mammoth or something like that. So yeah, I don't know. Just I will probably have to mention it in my book when I do my second edition, whenever I get around to it. My biggest problem with Pedro Pascal is that he is hotter than Johnny. Anyone here like Metamorpho? I wouldn't say he was like my favorite character, but it's just cool to see him visualized. He's sort of one of those like D-list DC characters that you're like you would never expect to see in a movie, and there he is. So that's kind of cool. Batman versus Guy, one punch. Beetle loses his mind. Bwah ha 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 ha. Yes. Somebody better bwah ha 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 in it. Gardner looks like that one asshole with a punchable face, and Nathan captures it. Yes. That's exactly. Guy Gardner has like the ultimate punchable face. I'm a bit disappointed. Where did I go? A bit disappointed that Red Tornado wasn't in it. I mean, there's lots they could have done. If it was really Just League International, it should have had Blue Beetle, Booster Gold, Guy Gardner, Fire, Ice, Captain Atom, Martian Manhunter, maybe Black Canary. Would have been like the essential team to have for Justice League International. Metamorpho. Yeah. Um, Lol, you've never gotten into Adam West Batman. When I was a kid, because that was the only Batman up until 1989. Um, but then like after Tim Burton's Batman, it's like, ew, gross, old Batman, lame. That's like the stupid dorky Batman. I like the cool dark Batman. So I haven't really given Adam West Batman a chance after that. Even though I did show you the toy when we were in Toys R Us, they had the DC Multiverse Adam West Batman toy. I did show that to you. Um, but yeah, and now the idea of sitting down to watch it, like watch a whole series, is like daunting. That's why we haven't got past the first episode of Deep Space Nine either. Um, a sequel to The Batman has been delayed because of some personal problems involving Matt Reeves. Too dark. The Batman is too dark. I think you can tell a lot about a person by their reaction to the new Superman. Mainly if they say that Zack Snyder was better, they were dropped. I think I don't mind Zack Snyder. I think his movies are okay generally. It depends on the movie, right? Like here, the new ones are kind of crappy, but um, it's just different versions, right? Like Zack Snyder has a different artistic vision than James Gunn, and that's fine. Whatever, we'll see what they have to offer for making a Superman. And I think Henry Cavill was like the perfect looking super. He's a perfect looking man, anyways. So it's like, who's the most perfect specimen of man? That would be Henry Cavill. Um, People need to stop hate watching a lot of media. Absolutely, absolutely. Um, like it's a lucrative business on YouTube, and other than like my honest criticisms of Dark Universe as a fan of the Universal monsters, um, I try and keep it generally positive, which is why, like, God, those comments that I got for my Dark Universe video, people are like, oh, you just hate everything. It's like, what? You clearly have not seen the rest of my channel. My series of videos, my like core series of videos is why this movie is so great. Like, come on. Oh, you hate everything. Like, no. There are lots of things I hate, but I'm trying to focus on things that I like. And I talk about the things that I like. Whatever. And I don't hate watch stuff. I don't watch stuff because I know I'm going to hate it. I try to avoid stuff like that if I can. Except when family ropes me into watching it. But then I don't go on YouTube and rant about a movie that my family made me watch. Because it wasn't about that. It was about spending time with family. Um, so yeah, anyways. But yeah, the people who spend so much time trolling AEW, like they don't like AEW and they're gonna make sure AEW knows about it. And they're gonna make sure that all the stupid fans of AEW know about it and they can't enjoy it because AEW's stupid. It's like, oh my god, just go away. Let people enjoy things. To the Batcave, Robin. Yes. Also, just a heads up, Zack Snyder is my Peter Jackson. Fair enough. Holy expletives, Batman. Apologies. Well, Moonraker is one of my favorites. Cool. There was that, I don't know if Robot, if you played that game, the James Bond video game, where it was like Daniel Craig Bond, but in the old movies. So you played Goldfinger as Daniel Craig Bond and Moonraker as Daniel Craig Bond. It was interesting. Holy zippy zippy pow pow, Batman. ScarJo makes everything better. Looking at Ghost World alumni, I thought Thora Birch was actually more my type than ScarJo. Are you going to see Primitive War? No, I wasn't planning on it. I've heard about it, but Raptors' weapons does not compute. Yeah. Hey, my great grandpa fought in both world wars. We used dinosaurs as weapons a lot. DC made comics about dinosaurs in World War II. They did. That's different though. It's not like the dinosaurs were being used on the battlefield as a weapon. It was just that they soldiers end up washed up on this island and there's dinosaurs on it. Are you going to watch the new Walking with Dinosaurs? If I can. I'm not going to turn down a new Walking with Dinosaurs. That what was it? The Life on Earth documentary narrated by Morgan Freeman, is great. Life on Earth is it was a really good documentary. And how it framed the drama of life and the fact that it was about how does life survive, just through the context of looking at how it has survived through the past. It was really good. Life on Earth, one with Morgan Freeman, is a really good one. War of the Time Forgot. Yeah, thank you. Sean Connery's best performance is Henry Jones Sr. Sean Connery's had a lot of good performances. It's hard to pick out a best one. I get to go to Trader Vic's every now and then, with an original being in San Francisco. Yeah, that's nice. I wish. And I would say get me a mug, except like the point would be it's a souvenir. Like I've been there. So there's no point in getting someone else to get me a mug. Nobody ever mentioned Sean Connery's wonderful performance as Zardoz. Yeah. Costume designer in Zardoz was robbed of an Oscar. Yeah. Although, Trader Vic's, they do have this great looking mug they just released that has like the jade tiles on them, like those breezeway tiles that get like tied up in like these sort of grids. If you were to get me a mug, just saying that would be a good one. Let's see. I do think people blamed Colossal for false advertising too much. These themselves never directly said they resurrected a direwolf. That was more the news outlet saying. I can believe that. The news does tend to sensationalize these sort of things. Henry Cavill can't act. Oh, that's to you. The Batman didn't make enough money to fast track a sequel. Yeah. Honestly, The Batman would have been a good sequel to Joker. If they wanted to. I mean, they already ruined it because Joker is in The Batman. But, like, if they had wanted to, they could have had, like, in The Batman 2, and not have a funny idea, just go from Joker to The Batman 2 with Robert Pattinson Batman versus Joaquin Phoenix Joker. That would have actually worked. That would have been consistent world-wise. Fold those ones together. But whatever. They didn't, so whatever. I don't care. I have a soft spot for Adam West Batman because it matches the tone of the comics coming out at the time. Oh, Creature's heading out. See ya. Snyder Cult. Attached to DC is toxic. Can be. Hack Snyder's and banished Netflix. They're making a third Godzilla Kong team up. Yes, they are. We'll see. I don't know what they're going to do for that one because there's no story left. I mean, here's what I would like to see for the MonsterVerse, the next MonsterVerse, is actually split them apart again. So have one movie with Kong and Zuko and Mothra in the Hollow Earth, and then have another movie with like Godzilla and Rodan fighting some other monster on the surface. And, have them go their own ways again, and then bring them back together again later on. But they're really trying to milk having them both in there together. Which means that the MonsterVerse isn't really a cinematic universe. It's just a series with one prequel. I guess you could argue, well, no, there's the animated series, and there's Monarch, and whatever. But, it's a direct line. Like, Godzilla, King of the Monsters, Godzilla vs. Kong, Godzilla X Kong, with the prequel of Skull Island. So it's not really a cinematic universe. But whatever. Anyways. Every Henry Cavill is a flop. That doesn't make him any less pretty. My favorite Sean Connery performance was Darby O'Gill in The Little People. Yes, that is we forgot to watch it this past St. Patrick's Day, but otherwise it's like our go-to St. Patrick's Day movie. Darby O'Gill in Little People. Henry Cavill is Chef's Kiss. I was so bummed with Joker 2. I did not even see Joker 2 because I heard all about it. And I was like, nope, don't need to see it. Didn't even hate watch it. Nope. Sean Connery also had a role in Tarzan the Magnificent. Every Henry Cavill film was a flop. It's doubling down. He's like, nope. I don't think Toho would let Kong and Mothra. They already did. Mothra and Kong were already together in a movie. What are you talking about? In fact, it was kind of nice to see them together because they were supposed to have been together in Ebera Horror of the Deep. That was originally going to be a Kong movie. And then because Toho and Rankin Bass couldn't settle on who was going to direct it, Toho just said forget about it, and they just put Godzilla in the Kong role, which is why Godzilla behaves like Kong in the movie. But if they had made it a Godzilla movie or a Kong movie, then it would have been Kong and Mothra together in this movie, which would have been cool. Because I like Mothra. Mothra is my favorite kaiju. Like King Kong is obviously my favorite giant monster, but for Japanese kaiju specifically, Mothra is my favorite. So, um, it would have been cool to see them together, and now that they're both kind of hanging out in Hollow Earth, they should have an adventure together. Um, Maybe one where we find it like it's actually more of a Mothra movie because Kong's story arc is kind of done. Like, in fact, it got finished before we even really found out the full thing. Like, there's missing some Kong movies in there before they should have done GVK, but yeah, Kong, he has become king of the apes. He's found his people. He's living in Hollow Earth. He's got the good life. He gets to have Scar King's harem. Everything's great. So what story is left for there to tell for King Kong? So maybe it's a mystery of like Mothra's people, and maybe we follow Zuko growing up into adulthood. Those would sort of be where the stories are at. So it would actually be like more of a Mothra movie if they did another Hollow Earth movie, But this is me just being like, here's what I would do. But what they're going to do is just milk it again for another one that's probably going to be predominantly a Kong movie with like a cameo by Godzilla. Or maybe they'll do the other way around. It'll be mostly a Godzilla movie with a cameo by Kong. Immortals, Man from U.N.C.L.E., Argyle, Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, all bombs. Man from U.N.C.L.E. was good. I liked Man from U.N.C.L.E. Not without Godzilla. Man of Steel didn't do well enough for a sequel. Why did they make a sequel? Yeah. Yeah, the problem with that is they just fast-tracked trying to get to Justice League. The sequel to Man of Steel should have been just Superman versus Lex Luthor, and to explore the idea of power and how power is exercised, and the fact that like Superman, he can't just punch Lex Luthor into the sun. That would have been more interesting. I mean, Batman v Superman was okay. It's a lot. It was okay. But I feel like they didn't quite earn it. Like they didn't earn Superman's death, certainly. They needed at least one more Superman movie in there to earn Superman's death. We barely got to know the guy before they killed him off. So, I would like to see Cadillacs and Dinosaurs be made into an action horror movie. It's a little campy. Cadillacs and Dinosaurs would be a good one. I wouldn't mind seeing that as a movie. Even teaming up Superman with Batman didn't result in a big hit. Yeah, Batman v Superman should have easily made $1 billion. Well, oh my god, I love Man from U.N.C.L.E. Also, somehow enjoyed Enola Holmes 2 because Henry Cavill created one of my favorite Sherlock Holmes depictions. More hyper observant, socially uncomfortable, thoughtful. Also, flop doesn't mean bad. Citizen Kane was a flop. That is true. A lot of my favorite movies are flops. In fact, two of my favorite Disney movies are Atlantis and Treasure Planet, both of which were flops. I also liked Lone Ranger. I also liked John Carter. Those were flops. Would you mind a juvenile Godzilla in the Monsterverse? Manila? They should have done that. Here's what they should have done. In Godzilla vs. Kong, they should have had Mecha Godzilla kill Godzilla. Like, dead-ass kill him. And then have Kong kill Mecha Godzilla. Thus, Kong gets the title king by proxy because he killed the thing that killed the king of monsters. And then, after Godzilla vs. Kong, you have a King Kong movie, which basically could have just been Godzilla X Kong, just without Godzilla in it. You know, Kong is in the Hollow Earth, and he comes across Scar King. Has to fight Scar King. All that stuff basically plays out the same way, just without Godzilla. But then, in the after credits of King Kong, you get a Godzilla egg hatching. And then the next movie could be a little baby Godzilla being raised by King Kong. That would have been a fun movie. That's what I would have done if I was in charge of these things. There's a lot of, now we're in the, here's how I would have done this part of the program tonight. So I think there is room for a juvenile Godzilla, but they should have killed off Big Godzilla first. I remember there is a quote where Zack Snyder said he wanted to make a movie where Batman gets... Oh my god, yeah. Well, yeah. I'm not saying Zack Snyder always hits knockouts. He's good at deconstructing things. Like, Watchmen was like the perfect movie for him. Because Watchmen itself was a deconstruction of superheroes. So that was like perfect. And I think Watchmen is a fine movie. I liked Man of Steel. I thought Man of Steel was alright. But maybe he wasn't the best choice for a cinematic universe. I don't know. But I think the DC cinematic universe was doomed from the start just because they were trying so hard to play catch up to Marvel when they should have just been focused on making good movies of their own. And then you slow and replicate the slow build up to Justice League. So, you have introduce each of the heroes in their own movies instead of jumping from Man of Steel to the prequel to the Justice League to the Justice League. And then also throw in their Suicide Squad, a team composed of villains that we haven't even seen the heroes yet. Like, oh look, it's Flash's villains, but we haven't had a Flash movie, and we don't know who his villains are. Like Suicide Squad is something that should have come out in like DC Phase 2 or 3, not in Phase 1. So, yeah, it's like, here's the villains of heroes you haven't seen. So maybe Zack Snyder wasn't the best person for a whole cinematic universe. But part of Toto's contract with Legendary was they couldn't kill Godzilla. Well, then that was dumb. They should have redone that. That doesn't make sense, though, because Toho has killed off Godzilla multiple times. Even in the last movie, he was essentially killed. It's just that a part of him survived. So, yeah, like, I mean, the whole, like, Godzilla can't be killed. It's like, what? What are you talking about? Godzilla's been killed like 5, 6, 7 times. So I don't know about that. That's kind of suspect myself. But anywho, let's see. It is now almost 2.5 hours we've been at this. I am getting a little bit tired. So you know what that means. That means it is time for... Alright, so I got some videos coming up here. Hooray! Some actual content. So, coming up here next is this video I've been thinking about for a while after Antonia Carlotta did a video on who was the real monster in Frankenstein? Was it the doctor or was it the monster? And it was a fun video, but I thought I would do my own because I find it a bit reductive when it's like trying to figure out who the real monster is. So That's going to come up next year is Frankenstein, Who is the Real Monster? Followed by another theme park video. Because, hey, audience capture or whatever. So, just seizing the opportunity to talk about another ride I really liked, which is the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror. So, talking about that is coming up here. And that's going to be like a 40-minute video. Just me chit-chatting. All of these videos are actually just going to basically me chit-chatting. And then I'm finally getting around to one I wanted to look at for a while, which is Boris Karloff's other mummy movie. It's called The Ghoul, a little-known British horror film. So that one is going to be coming up, and that's actually basically why The Ghoul is so great, but just went for a different name for it. And then some Kong content again. King Kong content of there's actually a question that came up in one of the Kong Facebook groups about why couldn't King Kong just climb over the wall? So I decided this needs a video of me discussing what the wall is actually for, and who built it, and why did they build it, and all that sort of stuff. So that one is going to be coming up here. So basically, April is all planned out now. Not April, May. May's all planned out. And then, of course, there'll be another live stream down the road as well. Yeah, I've just been feeling extra productive lately. So, but yeah, most of them are actually just like this. It's like me sitting there chit-chatting about something. But yeah. In fact, I almost wonder if I should take parts of tonight's live stream and snip them and make videos out of them as well. My whole discussion of H.P. Lovecraft and whatever. Let's see here. Did you read the Watchmen graphic novel? Yes. A lot of people say the movie adaptation didn't get the source material. Yes and no. I mean, they're different media, right? Like you couldn't do an exact adaptation of the Watchmen into film because the Watchmen is a comic and the film is a film. So it had to be different. The only thing I didn't really like was the ending. Because there was a purpose to how the comic ended that didn't really capture quite the same thing with the movie. But I can see why the movie made the choice it did. Because the ending of the comic is also a little absurd. So, which, I mean, is like absurdist in Alan Moore sense. So I can see where, Zack Snyder might think like didn't play well, so he changed it. But then it kind of changes a bit of the meaning of the story as well if, it's how he ended it versus how it ends in the comic. But yeah, it's just like, they're just different. They're different media, so you can't have an exact adaptation of a comic into a movie. Monsterverse lost me with King of the Monsters X just tripe. I love the ideas and new kaiju designs are great, but man, it just all like, okay. I liked King of the Monsters. I still think King of the Monsters was the best Monsterverse movie. I'm looking forward to seeing a 40-minute unscripted video like these live streams, but focused. Yeah, not going all over the place. Yeah, mostly focused. I mean, I do drift around, but I drift around with purpose as well. Will you go over the Walls filmography? I do talk about the Walls filmography. I actually did in my video on the King Kong filming locations, which was itself a reaction to Grim Life Collective's video, because they kind of got it wrong. They got some of the spots right, but then they kind of missed some other things and got some stuff wrong. Yeah, I did talk about the Walls filmography in that video on King Kong's real Hollywood filming locations. But I cover it again in this one. But and the Wall only really appeared in King of Kings, King Kong, Return of Chandu, She, and then it was burned down and Gone with the Wind. So I haven't heard of other movies it was in. So I don't know. But the Wall is my favorite Golden Age actor. You know what is amazing about the Wall is that it was in like two of the greatest Golden Age movies of all time. It was in one of the best silent movies as well, King of Kings. And we got to watch its destruction on film. Like, it wasn't just like some poor set just demolished because whatever. It actually was like, it went out in a literal blaze of glory on film. You can watch its destruction in Gone with the Wind. So, if we can't have the wall with us today, to have it preserved in, have its destruction preserved in one of the greatest movies of all time is a pretty okay surrogate. So, and that, I've been to, it's gonna be a weird side detour that it reminded me of. The Walt Disney Family Museum in San Francisco is such a strange experience. It's great. I love it. And I love the fact that like it is a museum, so it gives you the space to really um, think on Disney animation as art. Unlike say Disneyland, where it's about the rides and the food and the overpriced souvenirs and everything else, right? It's very much focused on the mercantile and entertainment aspect, whereas the Disney Family Museum is a chance to actually sort of stand back and dwell upon Disney as art. But it's very hard to do that because the art of animation is the finished movie, right? Like, you can have the drawings and the storyboards and the cells and the camera and this and that and the other thing, but the objects themselves aren't the art. The art is the movie. So it's kind of weird to walk through the Walt Disney Family Museum and see the stuff but not the movie. It's a bit of a weird experience. So that just got me thinking about like, yeah, the wall, right? Like, it would be amazing to see the wall. This huge, massive prop, right? But the purpose of the prop is the movies. So if you can't see the wall, at least to see it go out in a literal blaze of glory is all right. It died for its art. But anywho, Doug saying good night. Yeah, I'm gonna clock out here now. We're at officially the 2 hours and 32-minute mark. So I think that's enough for me for tonight, and we'll see y'all next month. Thank you for joining me once again, and we will see y'all again.
And now, folks, it's time to say goodnight. We sincerely appreciate your patronage and hope we've succeeded in bringing you an enjoyable evening of entertainment. Please drive home carefully and come back again soon. Good night.